Coming up on NCC News at 4, find out what Central New Yorkers think of Governor Cuomo.
We give you a look at the Onondaga County Sheriff's Canine Unit.
9 districts in Onondaga County are holding village elections.
NCC News at 4 starts now. Welcome to NCC News at 4. I'm Catherine Scher.
I'm Juliana Pignataro. Voters in 9 Onondaga County districts are voting today to elect new mayors, trustees, and justices. In 5 of these villages, candidates are running unopposed. To see a list of polling times in your area, visit the Onondaga County Board of Elections website. And for a complete list of villages holding elections today, visit our website at NCC News Online.
Residents in Pulaski are heading to the polls today to decide whether or not to keep the village's police department. If they decide to keep it, property taxes will go up 18%. And if they decide to get rid of it, the village could save about $200,000. The vote is being held from 12 to 9 p.m. today at the Snow Memorial Building on Jefferson Street in Pulaski. The Van Buren Town Board is voting this evening on a proposal that would expand the Lysander Fire Department and eliminate the fire protection district in the town. The Baldwinsville and Lysander fire departments are trying to consolidate into one fire district. In order to do this, the fire departments are looking to eliminate the fire protection districts in the towns of Van Buren and Lysander. This move would create one fire district.
Syracuse police are investigating a shooting that happened early this morning on the 200 block of Essex Street. Police say a man was found inside 204 Essex Street and taken to Upstate University Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The man's name has not yet been released. Essex Street between Willis Avenue and Avery Avenue remains closed as the investigation continues. Anyone with information about the shooting is asked to call Syracuse police.
Well, Onondaga Community College has a new president. The SUNY Board of Trustees approved Kathleen Crawbell from New Jersey today for the job. Crawbell has been president of a community college in New Jersey for 6 years. The former OCC president, Debbie Sydow, resigned last year to become president of Richard Bland College in Virginia. As a Democrat, Governor Cuomo has been known to have a high approval rating among Republicans for the past 2 years.
But a new survey shows that's no longer the case. Nearly half of the Republicans in New York State disapprove of Cuomo's performance in office. NCC News reporter Angel Cruz is here to tell us more.
So of the survey that I took, about 20 to 25 people, it is a little bit surprising to see how many of these Republicans actually praise Cuomo for his efforts in New York State. Almost half of New York's Republican voters disapprove of Governor Andrew Cuomo's policies. This has brought the governor's overall approval rating to an all-time low of 55%. According to the Quinnipiac University poll, just 3 out of 10 upstate Republicans approve of Governor Cuomo. He still has favor among Democrats with a 67% approval. One reason his approval rating has changed is the strict gun control laws.
I'm here at the corner of Marshall and Krause to see whether or not Syracuse students and Central New Yorkers approve of Cuomo's policies in office.
I don't agree with the monies that has been cut from the education, and a lot of the money is going downstate and not coming to Central New York. I don't agree with that neither.
I think he's doing a wonderful job. We couldn't have anyone any better than he.
Governor of New York, and I think he is one of the better Democratic governors that I can think of, I guess.
Disapprove.
Disapprove? Why?
I feel like he abuses his power, abuses the message of necessity.
Okay.
I've been on his side for some of the fiscal constraints, for same-sex marriage, for being tougher in gun control. So I'm on board on a number of those issues.
Okay.
His policies are right. I mean, the stricter gun laws, like, they're really needed, especially at a time like in today's global world. Look at like Sandy Hook and all that happened. Like the stricter gun laws are like really necessary.
And how do you feel about Cuomo's policies in office?
I like stricter gun laws. less guns, less killings.
Quite pleased with things. You know, it's just tough budget-wise. It's just tough, and people are hurting him. But I think he's trying to do the best he can in the situation, and the legislature seems to be functioning again, which it hadn't done for many years. And so, I think in part that can be attributed to him and his leadership.
So again, the sample size I took was between 20 and 25 people, so it's not representative of all Republicans and what they think about Cuomo.
So were there any other big issues you discussed besides gun legislation?
Well, another big issue was budget cuts. Amongst those was abortion rights, and another one was about keeping money. Cuomo, like Tara said in the beginning of the package, she said that Cuomo tends to keep money more downstate than upstate.
So the people that you spoke to that were unhappy with Cuomo, were any of them Democrats or independents?
Most of the Democrats actually liked Cuomo, but it was most of the independents that said they didn't like Cuomo, which I guess when it comes around time to voting, they might side more with the Republican vote.
Thanks, Angel.
Syracuse Bishop Robert Cunningham met with Governor Andrew Cuomo earlier this afternoon to discuss Cuomo's abortion bill. The state legislature is considering Cuomo's controversial Reproductive Health Act. The bishop is urging state leaders to reject the bill, which the Catholic Church has called extreme. The Catholic Church also says the bill would create abortions on demand.
A memorial service was held for the FBI police dog shot in Herkimer County last week. The German Shepherd named Ape was shot by Kurt Myers. Myers was also responsible for shooting 6 people. He was tracked down by Ape and police, who cornered him in an abandoned building. Myers opened fire, killing the dog. The memorial service was held yesterday in Quantico, Virginia. Onondaga County has its own police canine force. NCC News reporter Amy Littman spoke with the local dog handlers to get their reactions to the shootings in Herkimer that killed an FBI dog.
When it comes to police dogs, handlers say man's best friend is also man's best protection against danger.
Good boy, buddy.
But during a standoff in Herkimer last week, this came at a price.
That is what they're asked to do, is to possibly sacrifice their lives for ours. But it still doesn't lessen the pain that you feel.
A suspect shot and killed a newly trained FBI dog named Ape. Here at the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department, Deputy Craig Belcher says he feels terrible for that dog's handler.
You're pretty attached to the animal that you work with, and you'd hate to see it happen.
Onondaga County has 4 dogs who are used to track down suspects, missing people, bombs, and narcotics. But one of their chief duties is to keep their handler safe.
This is Ernie. He's 5 years old and has been in the force for 4 years. He's the first line of defense when the deputies go into a situation.
The dogs have gone through training that continues throughout their careers. In this exercise, Deputy Belcher is a suspect, and Ernie is instructed to approach him before his handler does.
They'll respect the dog sometimes more than they respect an officer. So basically every time I get him out of the car, he makes a pretty good impression.
Deputy Belcher says for the dogs, the situations are all a game, whether real or not.
This is what they live to do. And so their life revolves around the games that we play.
Through all the training and hard work, handlers say the bond that forms between themselves and their dogs is an important one that makes the job worth it.
It's just having a best friend in the car ride around with you for 9 hours a night.
So Amy, where did the dogs come from?
They're all German Shepherds from Czechoslovakia. Actually, they train the dogs with commands in Czech so as not to confuse them with English commands they might be giving to a suspect, and this is because they came from Czechoslovakia.
And how long do they train these dogs for?
They train them for 10 weeks when they first get them, when they're about a year or 2 years old, and then they train them for another 6 to 7 weeks in specializations such as narcotics or bomb sniffing. And then the training actually continues throughout their lives. They are trained 3 days each month for their entire careers.
St. Joseph's Day is today. The holiday is a celebration of St. Joseph's birthday and life. The holiday is celebrated with a feast and special desserts. The Biscotti Cafe and Gelateria in Little Italy is selling the special dessert for today only. The bakery is in the center of Little Italy and is filled with classic Italian desserts like cannolis, tarts, and gelato.
You're welcome. Amy is on the patio for a first look at the weather. Amy?
Well, it's not quite spring just yet. As you can see, the winter storm that came last night has been giving us this wintry mix. And it's been going to be like this for the rest of the week. But it's starting off with, let's talk about the current temperatures. Right now, it's a little snowy, and the temperatures are about 38 degrees, and the winds are coming from the west at 6 miles per hour. And the barometer reads at 29.7 inches, and the humidity is 78%. And for tonight's forecast, we'll be getting a little bit of lake effect snow with more snow accumulation for tonight, but the temperatures would be around 28 degrees, the humidity would be 78%, and it will be a lot more colder than this. Stay tuned for the full forecast later in the hour.
Coming up on NCC News, a March snowstorm is hitting the Northeast.
Tomorrow may be the first day of spring, but it's not looking like the springtime weather will be arriving anytime soon.
Pope Francis was inaugurated today as the Catholic Church's 266th Pope. Nearly 200 people turned out in St. Peter's Square for the event.
Francis delivered his message in Italian, saying he would look after the poor and the sick. Tomorrow, the Pope will meet with nearly 30 delegations representing other Christian churches, Buddhist, Muslim, and Jewish religions.
56 people are dead and 200 are wounded after a bomb went off in the center of Baghdad. No group has claimed responsibility for the attacks. The bombings come on the 10th anniversary of the Iraq War. A new CBS poll shows that nearly 54% of Americans say going to war was a mistake. This is a change from 10 years ago when 70% of Americans backed the war.
White House Press Secretary Jay Carney spoke to the media today about the deaths of U.S. Marines who were killed in the accident at a training camp yesterday. A mortar round exploded last night during a training exercise at the Hawthorne Army Depot in Nevada. The explosion killed 7 Marines and injured 8 more. 3 are in serious condition and 5 are in fair condition at the Regional Medical Center in Reno.
The President was briefed immediately on, and made aware of it immediately and briefed on it, and we're monitoring the situation.
The parliament in Cyprus rejected a bank tax today, hurting Eurozone efforts to help Greece during its debt crisis. The tax was a condition for a European bailout. Banks are still closed in Cyprus as the banking crisis continues. Banks have been closed since Friday and are expected to stay closed until Thursday.
The annual White House Easter egg roll could be canceled this year due to the sequester. This would be the first time in nearly 135 years that the White House does not host the event. More than 35,000 people are expected to show up on the White House lawn this year for the egg roll. If canceled, this event will not be rescheduled. Late winter storms are bringing more snow to the East Coast. The Northeast is being hit by a storm nicknamed Yuko that is expected to bring snow throughout the day. Many schools in upstate New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut have been closed throughout the week.
Coming up on NCC News, art reporter Amy Koo tells us about a new art project in Syracuse.
And more about the artist who created the project. Two photographers are looking to show Syracuse in a new light.
Art reporter Amy Koo is here to tell us more about the people behind the project.
The photo project Discover Syracuse showcases the unexpected beauties that the city holds. Let's take a look. The city of Syracuse is not the most aesthetically pleasing place in the world, but Emily Shearing and her boyfriend Ted Risch are looking to find the beauty Syracuse has to offer with their photo project, Discover Syracuse.
As photographers, we just want to kind of discover things that maybe aren't traditionally beautiful. When we thought about doing a project for Syracuse, it was like, well, maybe we can kind of turn the idea that Syracuse is kind of like this dilapidated city into a, kind of give it a new idea about it being a beautiful place in unexpected ways.
Finding some place to shoot for Discover Syracuse starts off with getting in the car and picking a direction.
My goal is to just get lost. So that's why I like to turn down the side streets so that I just kind of lose a sense of direction. When I was a kid, my dad and I would play this game where we would pick a direction to go. So he would drive and I would tell him to turn right or left. And then wherever we ended up, we ended up. And so I kind of took that mentality with discovering places.
Finding a place that calls out to them artistically is different every day. It depends on their mood as well as the lighting during the day or night. Many times they have driven by these places before.
On a cloudy day like this, the church kind of blends into its surroundings, but if you catch the church on a sunny day when the sun is just bright, you might get a photo that looks like this. It was just the way that the stone from the church was like touching the really, really blue sky, and then the way I got my camera, it was like this purple lens flare. So I think I had seen that church, dozens of times, so it was just a matter of interpreting it in a different way at a different time of day, in a different week. I think you just have to remember to slow down and look at things in a different way.
The couple hopes that people will learn to appreciate Syracuse as much as they have.
I mean, everybody wants to see their work seen by other people, but I don't think that's ultimately the goal for us. I think it's just a matter of wanting people to see the beauty of the cities, even if they don't see it with their own eyes.
Thanks, Amy. Coming up on NCC News, Sports Director Kelly Peters takes a new look at a former SU football player
and how he's now helping students at SU.
So what do we ask you?
Okay, who he is, what he's doing. Wow, package is working.
A former SU football player has come back to Syracuse.
Bruce Willis was known for his performance on the football field, but now he's helping students in the classroom.
NCC News Sports Director Kelly Peters has more on the story.
That's right. So I was able to speak with Bruce, and he had been wide receiver here. He was a captain in 2008, his senior year. It's really a great story. You know, essentially, it really is Golden Boy comes home. He's a local from around the area, attending the Christian Brothers Academy for high school, and he was able to come back and really give back to the university.
At the Stevenson Educational Center in Manley Fieldhouse, Bruce Williams is just one of the guys.
This morning, Bruce was kind of getting on my nerves, so I just got mad. I just wanted to draw a picture about him.
But Williams isn't joking about his job. From scheduling tutor sessions to acting as a liaison between professors and student athletes, Williams takes his job as the SU football team's academic advisor seriously.
We need to email teachers. You need to be more involved in class. You need to stay after, even if it's to tell your teacher that you learned something in class.
And besides his academic savviness, this 26-year-old has on-field experience.
I walked the same shoes in the same path as these kids.
And Williams' roots are local. In fact, his football career began right here at the Christian Brothers Academy.
Luckily, I had one of my mentors growing up, approach me and was like, hey, how would you want to go to CBA? And I was like, I just seen them on TV because their football program was pretty good.
Williams made his mark at CBA, holding the school's second all-time receiving yards record with 216 catches and 51 touchdowns over his 4 seasons. Williams was then recruited to SU, along with fellow CBA teammates LeVar Lobdell and Greg Paulus.
They got a lot of the limelight, but everybody knew behind, closed doors that when in doubt, we're going to give Bruce the ball and let him make something happen.
Williams became a star player and was named captain his senior year at SU. Now, with orange in his blood and academics on his mind, Williams is determined to keep the team on track just as spring training begins.
I use that football mentality that I had to my education. And I tell our kids this all the time. You take the way you practice and apply it to school, you're going to be successful.
And as spring training kicks off for the SU football team, academics hardly seem the focus for many players. Thankfully, the academic coordinator and former wide receiver, Bruce Williams, will be stepping in to make sure the athletes stay on track.
For more of what's coming up on NCC News at 4:40, Caleb Lamb is live at the newsroom with an update.
Thanks very much, guys. Coming up at 4:40, we'll take a look at how businesses in New York are surviving despite some of the largest taxes in the country. The SUNY Upstate Medical University has a new dean for its College of Medicine, and it's someone who comes from within the program. We'll also take a look at your full forecast and get the latest on SU basketball as it prepares for the NCAA tournament. All that and more is coming your way at NCC News at 4:40.
Coming up on NCC News,
skiing takes an interesting twist.
.290 Japanese skiers set a new world record for skiing in a long line on Sunday in Aiwate Prefecture, Japan. The participants ranged from age 4 to 74. Each held a rope and slowly went down the course one by one.
After the group crossed the finish line, they were acknowledged by 2 officials from Guinness World Records. The previous record was set by 250 skiers at the same event last year. That's all for NCC News at 4. Stay tuned for NCC News at 4:40. I'm Juliana Pignataro.
Follow us on Twitter at NCC News and online at nccnewsonline.com. I'm Catherine Scher. Good night.